Recording now.
Okay.
And welcome everybody to the webinar today of Learn All About Teaching Books. And you guys are in for a treat. There is so much information ahead of us and so many resources. I suspect you guys are just going to be tickled pink with all of this. We just want to thank right now Deborah Salyer for coming from Teaching Books to be with us. And I just to give you an intro about her. She comes to Teaching Books after 30 years in education, and she was an English teacher, a school librarian, and a district librarian. She also has some years as being a bookseller in marketing and professional development. She says her work as an implementation and training specialist at Teaching Books, which we're experiencing right now, allows her to be Oprah to those she coaches, and everyone receives a gift. So, living in Ohio, working from home, Deborah spends her free time reading, writing, gardening, and traveling with her husband. And we are so fortunate to have her here with us. And I am just going to pass the mic right now to her to get down to business because, boy, there is so much information ahead of us. Just so you know, this session is being recorded, as I mentioned before, and also there are captions available, and Tricia has just placed them, link into there if you'd like to use the stream text link to have the captions in a separate window. Alternatively, is you can have it through this platform. And if you have any questions at all for Deborah, please go ahead and place them in the chat. I'll be monitoring that for her. And take it away, Deborah. Thank you again so much for being here. Oh, Ray, thank you for being here too. I'm so sorry. Ray is also here with us from Teaching Books, just to lend a hand and his incredible brain power. So between the two of them, we are in good hands.
Thank you so much for such a nice welcome and introduction. I laughed when I learned what the title for today had been selected, Learn All About Teaching Books, and I can tell you, just everybody can relax right now. There's no way you could learn all. Even I don't know all. So we're going to learn more about teaching books today. It may be that you're even brand new, but I can tell you from personal experience, almost every day something happens and changes, and I'm surprised even myself. So we have lots to learn and share today. Teaching Books is all about giving readers opportunities to connect with the books that they're reading and to have joy in the books that they are reading, whether it's an assigned reading or one that they get to choose. We're trying to bring the author to the students at the moment they're reading the book, and it's full of created and curated resources to do that. Everything from author interviews you can't get anywhere else, book readings of the authors and illustrators and more, book trailers like you saw, and also things that you can use either to teach your lessons, do your story time, enrich your programming, and more. Here's what we're going to do in the next 50 minutes. We're going to first get a quick overview, especially for those of you not seen it, but also for those of you who haven't seen it in the last 3 weeks even. Excuse me, there are many new things to see. Then we'll take a peek at how you might use Teaching Books for Readers Advisory. We'll look at how you can use Teaching Books for book selection and evaluation. And lastly, we'll talk about how to promote the books that you have. So that's where we're going. I'm going to give you time, hands-on time to do it yourself. So if you have a device or you didn't bring a device, find a partner, and together I'm going to give you 5 to 10 minutes throughout this next 50 minutes so that you can get your hands right there and practice the things that we're showing you. So let me take us right into Teaching Books. You will notice that this Teaching Books, which welcomes the Kentucky Department for Libraries and Archives, is blue. But if I go back to where I was a moment ago, this one is red. And so the difference is this is Teaching Books for Schools, and this is Teaching Books for Libraries. So there's 2 different platforms. So whether you work in the public library or you work in a school, you have options. One is library.teachingbooks.net and the other is school.teachingbooks.net. And then you want to log in using your work email. So I'm going to go to the professional login. If I was in the school, it would say educator login. I put my email in, but if you're at a school, you can also log in with Clever, ClassLink. You can sign in with Google. Ray is with me, so I'm going to ask Ray to monitor the chat box. And Ray, if you need me to repeat something or go back, just you be the driver at that point, and I'll do what you say. So I'm going to log in to my Kentucky account. Now you see it says my name at the top. So I said we were going to do a quick overview of how TeachingBooks works, and it has really just 3 basic things. You want to know how to search, how to save what you find, and you want to learn how to share it. So I'm going to take a few minutes to do that, and then I'm going to give you 5 minutes to just poke around into TeachingBooks yourself. So the first thing is to search for something. So let's say I want to search Aaron and Trotta Kelly, who just won another Newbery. Well, I have to spell it right. Here it is, Aaron and Trotta Kelly. So I can search by author, I can search by title, etc. I can search by so many things. So I search for Aaron, and now I see this girl who's only been writing for a handful of years now has 56 total book awards. She's in a place now where they're writing her name bigger on the books that she publishes. You know, it's a thing to get your book, your name nice and big on the cover. So I open it up and I can see books that she's written, and here I can sort. I'm going to sort by year published. And now I can see right there the book I was thinking about, The First State of Being, which was a notable book award finalist and the Newbery. It also has 3 other awards. It is an Ask Notable, it's a JLG selection, it's a Center for the Study of Multicultural Children's Lit. It's also already on 3 state lists, Georgia and District of Columbia. So I can click on the cover and go back to the book page where you'll see there are 42 resources to connect kids with the book. They can listen to an audio excerpt. They can watch a video book reading where Erin reads from the book. They can learn how to say her name and a little bit of background about that. You as a librarian or a teacher can get more of that data about the book. Who's it for? What's its genre? You can see this is a crossover, and I'm so happy to see this. I've been talking about this book for more than a year, and it's both historical fiction and science fiction because it takes place in 1999, just before Y2K, but it also is about a character who comes from the future on a space machine, a time machine. It also has an Asian American experience. And at TeachingBooks, also a multiracial. At TeachingBooks, cultural experience is a true cultural experience, not just, oh, by the way, Aunt Lucy is from Peru, so it's South American. We have to learn something. If you pop that open, you can see things like Lexile when they become available. Those of you at schools, if you have Sora, you can go from here to your Marketplace account. There's subject headings and also lists. So it's a great way to, we'll come back to those when we talk about Reader's Advisory. At the top, you'll see original resources you can find only at TeachingBooks, everything from how to say the author's name to graphic organizers and multi-leveled lessons that you might use for assessment. You can see author information, lots of author interviews, great for primary sources, video, audio, written. Then you'll see book guides, activities, and lessons. The TeachingBooks sole source items will be first, then you'll see discussion questions, educator's guide, and more. Your book readings will come next, book trailers if there are some, vocabulary, and more. Then on the left-hand side, you see a little button. This is where you can save things. So if I wanted to save right now, I want to save this book, I'm going to create a new list and call it Award Winners. Wish list 2025. And I'm going to add that to my list. And now I can edit from here. I can view it from here. I can say, nope, I'm still looking at this page. I just don't want to lose this book. I can share this page, and you'll see that red share arrow if you're on TeachingBooks, or the blue if you're on for schools. And the share the page lets you give it directly to somebody without having to sign in. So they don't have to go into the educator professional login. I can copy this link and give it to you. I can create a bookmark. If I have a class set of these, I might make a label sheet, and then I'll put them inside my labels, inside my books, and then anybody who gets a copy of that can scan that QR code or type in that URL, and it will go directly to those resources. I also can change it to over 100 languages. Then you also have, on the same thing, you have principles and you have digital. So if you want to create an assignment, if you work in a school, if you want to send it to someone. I often do this, and I will put their email in, and then I will say, you are so welcome. And I will send it to whoever that person is, and then they'll come to me and go, ooh, what is this? I want to know more about this. And then you can tell them, oh, I'm your Oprah today. You have TeachingBooks, and you have TeachingBooks, and you have TeachingBooks. So you can be the Oprah. Because TeachingBooks is now part of Overdrive, on the left-hand side, you'll also see an ebook preview if there is one. So here's the beginning of the book. There's a map for Fox Run Apartments where our main characters live, as well as where our character from the future comes in. And then we can see a little bit of the book. And it's going to depend on the publisher how much you get. But you get a little, it's good for shopping, it's good for readers advisory and more. Then for fun, there is a jigsaw cover that you can play. There's one of those for every book at TeachingBooks, as well as a word search. And so you can create word searches of your own, great for reinforcing vocabulary, also great for hooks. If you're trying to get them to guess what this book cover is, you could even use them as a race. So that's in general the basics of search, save, and share. So what I want to do now is give you 5 minutes to just dig around in TeachingBooks, search for things, try to create a list, and then we'll dig a little deeper into more specific ways that you can do some book selecting. But start with a title that you're using right now, or a title you might use in the future. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is dabble a little bit into book selection. How TeachingBooks can help you with collection development, how it can help you decide on just right books for whatever kids that you're doing, which will be super helpful when we do the next section, which is Reader's Advisory. So let's start by using our Explore button. So whether you're on the school platform or you're on the public library platform, right? Somewhere near the top, you will see Browse. It'll be on the far right on the public library, and it'll be almost dead center in the school one. So if I click Browse, what it's going to do is give me some collections of things that help me narrow down what I'm looking for. There are so many titles on this book. If you just look at all the books, it's too much. It's like going to Costco with no list. It's too much. So you want to either browse by maybe an author, or you want to browse list, which is a great way. You know, it could be a thematic list. It can be a state list. You can browse by series, which is super helpful when you're talking with students and readers, because in the series, you can level it. You can filter it by grade level, say grades 3 to 4. And they're looking for a mystery. Now, once you've done this, let's say we choose Timmy Failure, for example. If I go here, not only is it going to give me the books, it's also going to give me the order of the books in the series. So this is great help also for Reader's Advisory, because they want to know what's next. And again, you have that share tool. You can print a label, put them inside all the Timmy Failure books, and then students, when they get home or when you're in your public library space, they can scan that and they'll see what comes next. So that's a great feature you won't get anywhere else. Again, I went from browse, but I can also, let's talk about awards. A lot of times we have to narrow our purchase options because a book has won an award, or we're wrapping up kind of award season right now. We know the notables now, we know the CCBC choices, we know the journal awards, but Teaching Books has a place where you can go for recent awards. So if I click here, I didn't sort or anything. I just went from browse to awards. And now I have these are all books that have recently won an award. I can even filter it by award year. So these are all the newest titles. Some of them are newest titles because, say, for example, Tiffany Jackson, because she won an award as an author. So even her older titles kind of, they get woven into this pot. But then let's go on the left-hand side and look at the other filters. You can decide, do I just want to look at the winners, for example, not those that won an honor, or got a commendation, or they were a finalist. I just want the ones that got the big gold sticker on there. I can, again, filter by my grade level. I can also filter by my curricular area. Again, I can filter by my genre. I can also say books that have any cultural experience, or I can choose a cultural experience, for example. Though we're at the beginning of the year and not many titles that are on this particular list will have a 2025, when you are starting to work on your Newberries, mock Caldecots, and things like that, you're trying to read all the potential award winning books at the end of the year. Year Publish is a great way to do that. And also when you haven't bought books in a while, you can also select books that are from the past 3 years. And then that will narrow your results a little bit as well. And then you don't choose books you might already have. And then you have all the resource types. Maybe you want titles that have a book trailer. So now I have 13 titles that have won an award that have a book trailer, and I might grab these at this point and select them all. You have your titles and your authors. So if you recognize them and go, oh, wait, we already have that, so I don't need that, you can take that off. Add titles to your list, and I'm going to add them to this list I already started. And close that box, because now I might want to go fish. I want to say, but wait, I want to try some more. I want titles that have a complete book reading, because even though Teaching Books is not about the books, you have the books, we have the resources, there are often complete book readings. So in this case, we have one, but if I take off finalist, and I have several, I have more options here. Not only do I get the winner, I get some second prize, and I might add some of these. So I can add multiple titles again here, add titles to my list, and select them that way. So you can use your filters. Over here, you can use your sorting. I could have said, show me the ones that have the most awards. I want those first. Especially when we have to prioritize our money. We might want to do that. So now I can look. And then underneath it, you can see this won 6 awards, this has 5, this has 4, etc. So that's another way to kind of browse around and get those just right books. You can also start at browse with a specific need. So you can start with the filters, all collections, and you could say, show me all the books that feature Asian American culture, or show me books that are for grades 9 to 12. Show me books that are funny because I really need to laugh today. So you can look at some of those collections. You'll also see, as I'm dipping down into here, phonics and phonological awareness. Many of us work with early literacy, and Teaching Books has held books in our hands in front of our eyes and identified titles that are not decodable books that you can use to reinforce things like the CH sound or the ST sound or the long O. I click there, and now I have long O. But before we get down in a rabbit hole about that, I want to give you time to just explore searching teaching books, looking at the collections, looking at awards, adding titles to your list, because then I want to show you another very cool thing. So I'm going to set my timer for 5 minutes.
Here we go. So I just put into chat where you would go to access this. That's the teachingbooks.net/KY setup. This is our kind of intake form. So what this is going to get you is access customized to your district, to your library system, to your private school, if depending on where you're at. And the whole idea with TeachingBooks is, can we make this about your books? Deb's touching on that with the list building, and I'm going to touch on, can we make it about your technology? So someone mentioned proxy. If you use a single sign-on system, we're trying to learn, how do we make this really easy for you to get the information about TeachingBooks and to share it out. So if I'm at a district in the state, and so I type in district, and let's pretend I'm at Adair, and I fill in I'm at Adair, right? And I can just put whatever I want here quickly. I can't hear you all. I don't know if my audio cut out or not. There we go.
You're
Sounds
just
like I'm
fine.
still here. Great. Okay. So, fill in what you want. The form is not hugely particular. So, you know, do something quick here, share what you know. It doesn't have to be perfect. We can always follow up later. We use ClassLink for single sign-on. In this case, maybe we use Google Classroom, and we're using Sora. And we use Destiny. This is a school environment. I don't know these, so I'm just going to put NA, and you hit submit. That's going to send the information to TeachingBooks. We'll follow up with whoever submitted the form, and if you include an implementation contact, then we'll follow up with that person as well. I'm going to show you briefly what it looks like. So if you're at a library system, you'll see these are very similar questions here, but they're slightly customized. So I'm going to go with here I'm at Martin County, and we ask you about library cards so that we can provide remote access. Again, same type of thing for contacts. And if you need us to IP authenticate, then we can do that. Someone was at a university, so I'm going to click college or university. Again, very similar information that we're asking for here. We will follow up with you. And then let me just show you briefly, kind of what that looks like. So how would you get TeachingBooks best set up in your technologies? These links are, I'll put them in the chat, but they're /onboarding. I just want to show you some of the things that we do tie into. So if you're using, single sign-on systems like Clever or ClassLink, if you're using a learning management system or Google Classroom, we're going to connect there. We have Chrome extensions to make finding TeachingBooks results in Google very easy for you. We want to know what books you're using, so we're going to ask you about that. And we're going to give you materials to easily share this out. So once we get the form, we're going to follow up with, here's on-demand training, and an email that you can quickly forward to other people at your district or at your library, and then you have ways to connect for training. So that's the process that you can expect from doing this. Again, the really critical thing for us is that we're trying to reach everybody. So, if you've got a tech team, great. You might be very familiar with doing this, but if you don't and you're kind of worried about it, go ahead and submit the form. We're here to help. It's a team of people here. And our whole goal is that everybody knows about this. Everybody can make use of these resources if they want, and that it's, spread out throughout the state. So even if you're, you're the sole person at your library, we can help you get buttons added to your website, right? And so maybe you want that. For that, we're here to support you, to offer that extra little boost or lift as needed. So maybe you really want a resource of the day widget, and that's just going to take you to something fun. That's what there is to set up. If you've got specific questions, you can freely reach out to me. I'll put my email in the chat as well. But hopefully that feels manageable to people. And again, I'll put the links, I'll put the onboarding links, and I'll put my email into the chat. Deb, anything else you want me to touch on?
No, that's great. And Ray is
Fantastic.
super
Okay.
helpful, you guys. So, yeah, as Amy says, um, as a Kentuckian, I'm pretty sure I've never said that. Um, as a Kentuckian, um, you have access and you can give it to all those you see at the university level, at the public library, at the school level, um, parents, grandmas, um, aunties, everybody has access. Let's learn a little more now because we said we're going to learn everything. So we're not really going to learn, we're going to learn some more. Um, there we go. Um, all right. So the next thing we're going to take a peek at is readers advisory. One of the things that readers do um, is they come to us, and because we've read everything, we know the next just right book. But sometimes we need a little spark to remind us, oh yeah, that. So one thing that Teaching Books does is there is, first of all, a box to teach them how to fish. You can teach them to go to for readers, and then there is a button that says Bookfinder. So I can click Bookfinder, and this leads us to Reader's Advisory. Um, so they can say, oh, I love Dogman. What else will I like? And so they type Dogman and they choose a Dogman book, and then you can have conversations or you can teach them that these are other related titles that you might like. You might like why do you like Dogman? You like it because it's a funny graphic novel. I like it just because it's funny. I'm not really even a dog person. I like it because it's a graphic novel. I like it because I read the first one. What else will I like? And then sometimes kids will read books because they're written on a grade level that they can read, a reading level that they can read. So you could take them here and then walk them through filters so that they can find titles that are reading level, but also interest and grade level appropriate. If I come down, I can see even more filters. I could start with I'm looking for a biography, and I'm in the 5th grade, and it's Women's History Month. I'm preparing ahead of time. So I want to choose women and girls. So I click search, and I've done all that filtering on the front end, and I still have 700 books that I might choose. So if I'm a kid, I might say, well, yeah, let me see one of those book trailers. So I grab the ones that say book trailer, and I look at this one, for example, and now I'm going to watch the video. So I can watch a bit of the video, and I can say, yeah, that's the one. Do you have this book? And then you take them to your collection so you can either give them the book, put the book on hold, or have some data for why we need to buy this book for our library. In the school library, it looks similar. It just says for students, and then it's find books you'll like, and you have those same 3 things. Both of them also have find books on a reading level. So if they knew that their reading interest level was a Lexile of 600 and they're in the 3rd grade, then Teaching Books will narrow their options to titles that are appropriate for their age before they even fool with the Lexile or look at the list. Does that make sense? So you have that. So that's another thing you can teach them. You can also say, well, tell me about a title you like, and you just type this in the box. And then when you get to the top of a page, you might see, oh, well, look at this. This is book 1 of a series. Have you read all the series? Or you come a little bit further and you see discover like books. This takes you to that same open accordion where we can explore and have conversations about why they like the book they originally chose. Titles that where it shows up on the same book list, it's on the same Lexile, and so on. So you can teach them that, or you can use that as you're filling gaps for the titles that you are putting on display or putting in your programming or in your independent reading or required reading or those kind of things. But then there's one more thing that will help you, And that is at the top, the book resume. Now, this is not something that students will get into. It's for adults that are signed in to their license. So I signed back in, and now I can see this book resume. So it's great backing up again to our book selection piece, where we can see this book has 6 professional reviews. They're all starred. And if you're working at a public library where you have copies of School Library Journal or the Horn Book, you don't have to go looking for them because they're all right here. So if you just want to look at one particular title, then you can dig right in and see that. You can see the awards it's won, the 55 state list and provincial recommended list it's on. It's even on lists in Australia and Canada. You'll see a primary source, why the author wrote the book. If I go back up to the top, again, I'll see my ebook sample. I'll see an audiobook sample. I can print the whole thing, or I can print a one-page summary, which is really great if you get in the place of you need to be proactive or reactive for a particular title that you have at your school or at your library. And whoever you give this to, if you have to send it to your school board or your board of directors or something like that, you have this QR code which will let whoever you give it to see all those things. You can also save it as a PDF and email it. Let's go back to, the top of the page. I saw somebody talked about, it's great to have those age groups to help me decide who it's for. So another thing that this book resume does is show you the variety of age groups that books fall into. Sometimes it's really random. I just will tell you from personal experience, but at least you have something to go on to help you either in book selection or as you're doing reader's advisory. Now, I want to give you some practice. We'll go back to our 5 minutes where you can dig around into Discover-like books or find a book. Think about a recent time when someone has asked you to find something and maybe you don't have, what's it called? I'm having a blank. You don't have another reader's advisory database. This one has your book resumes and it has resources to help them figure out if this is a just right book. So you dig around in that for 5 minutes and then we're going to learn one more thing. I want to talk about the titles that you have, the list that you already have. Ray alluded to Teaching Books is all about your list, and we totally are. But let me show you the after, and then I'll quickly show you how you can do some of these things that you're seeing right now. So here is a library with shelf talkers, and these shelf talkers are on anything in Teaching Books that talks. So if it's got audio or it has video, like the book trailers, the author, meet the author recordings, how to say the author's names, all those things, you can make one of those and display them with the titles. You can also just stick them in the top of the books. And when you've made a display on your shelves, whether it's a public library or a school library, you can put that there. Whenever you have a new display. You can also bridge the gap between the school or the public library and your homes by putting things inside the books. So you put those labels inside the books. When they get home, they can listen to the author reading the book, or they can listen to the author talk about the book, or they can have all the resources for the book and do their homework. You can make book markers for all the lists that you have so that families can have those resources at home. So let me show you how to do that. So if we go, this time I'm gonna do multiple learning. I'm gonna go to the toggle menu over here in the corner under your reading list. So everybody find the little toggle menu and your reading list. And everybody's gonna look a little different because it depends on where you are. If, for example, this right here, doesn't have a list, it means you have an opportunity. You can add your reading list or your program list, and everybody that uses this particular account would see those lists all in one place. And so they would have all the resources to go with your summer reading program or your Battle of the Books or your reading curriculum or your independent reading options for your district or for all of your sixth grade or whatever. So if you can just click right here, and that tells you what to do to add that, to start that. So you're welcome to do that in your school districts and your public library systems. And then you have your Kentucky list. Your Kentucky lists are made for you by our team. You don't have to do anything. They just like magic happen. And so the Bluegrass Awards are already posted for 2024. Schools are in the process of wrapping that up and voting on their awards, and then the winners will be announced and added to the state list for all the books that you have in the database. So, for example, Kentucky Bluegrass, I was digging in here, and that's how I found the iceberg. So it's a great way to promote that award. So from here, I can see there's 5 book trailers, and so I can show them at different events so that kids learn more about those titles. But I can also go to the share tool here, and I can make a bookmark. I can click on that bookmark, and there again is that QR code. It also will give your families directions on how to log in to TeachingBooks at home. You can also change the language here. At this point, you can also do a thing like embed your list. In fact, I just did a webinar this week on leverage your list. One of the things I talked about is if you have a list of titles, you can put them on your own website. So you could do that well and give people multiple ways to find whatever those lists are. Going back to our list, your reading list, you've been perhaps making your own list like I was in this session. Here's my list. I can also share it, give it to somebody. Until I do that, though, it's private. Nobody but me can see it. I can look at it, I can edit it, I can delete it, I can duplicate it. But if I view it, I will also see list analysis report at the top. This is really helpful as you are planning your programs to make sure you've checked all the boxes, you've left no one behind, because it will give you an overview of what's on this list, how many cultures, how many genres, fiction versus nonfiction, reading level when it's available, your copyright years, your cultural experiences. You have these interactive graphs. You can see, ooh, what are the 2 books? Oh, I only have 1 poetry. I should get more than that. You can see how the boogeyman became a poet, which is YA. So I might want to get some younger titles to put on my recommended K-12 list and so on. Then it will tell you what cultures are not included and what genres are not included. And it depends on the purpose of the list as to if you really care about that. So you can dig a little deeper. You can say, oh, I don't want to leave out Jewish titles, so I'm going to go back in here and find Jewish titles that have won an award, that have won an award in the past couple of years, sort it by year published or number of awards. I can add some of those titles and it will change my list analysis. But if you have summer reading programs, so let's go back up here and just remind you that TeachingBooks does so many things. If I go to For Professionals, I have a whole thing on book promotion. So it will remind you can do a shelf talker. You can make a label. Ray mentioned the widgets. So you can add the literary calendar or use it to plan your programming. You can see what's new on TeachingBooks today. And then you've got resources of the day for kids and teens, which have those hard to resist resources that your kids absolutely have to have those books afterwards. Also in your professionals, again, you have a link to Reader's Advisory, homeschool support, library programming, including story time and summer reading. And then in the school library version, you have You have your early literacy kit, you have book promotion, you have library programming. So you can see they're very similar kind of things. And you also have teaching ideas. So you have timely ideas that save you time for planning for Black History Month or Read Across America Week or Women's History Month, and those change all the time. But using those tools to have these beautiful things that will engage your readers. So my question for you is now what? What will you do now, right? So I want you to choose 2, 3 things in the fast look through that we did that you will do like right away while your hands are here or you're thinking about it. Make a list so that you can decide what you might want to do next. So in this time together, we have looked at Reader's Advisory and book selection and book promotion, but you know what? There's more. There's collection analysis. There's so many other things I could tell you about, but we're out of time. So I'm going to stop sharing, see if there's any quick questions. And know that you can reach out to me, dsalyer at overdrive.com. It's Sal as in pal, yours and her. And we are super happy to help you get started.
I just put Dev's email also in the text in the chat, so you guys have it.
Thanks, Amy.
Deb and Ray, thank you so much for being here with us. A lot of great information and stepping stones for us to explore. I'd like to encourage y'all that Ray really meant it, and as did Deb, that if you need help, please just email. They're ridiculously responsive, and yes, this we are recording, and so this will be available again for later viewing. We also have a previous webinar, and we will continue to have more information and cheat sheets and a bunch of different things that the creator of Teaching Books is working on, and he and I are brainstorming on different things. Also, if you find that you have more questions, or if you think you of some resources that could be helpful, please do send me an email. I would love to brainstorm with you as well. So thank you for being here today, and we especially thank IMLS for allowing us to be here and have this time together and funding this experience. Let me drop Ray's, unless Ray already did it because he's so fast.
I got it.
Oh, I just went to, you beat me.
Ray got it quick.
All right, so there is Ray Richard's email there too. Some more questions. So Ray, you might know, there's a question, is there a public library that's already integrated this into their website? I'm not sure if we've gotten that far yet, but Ray, you can answer that one, or maybe Deb can.
I think it depends on where you want to put it. Wherever you already have your databases makes the most sense. But just remember that Teaching Books is for children, it's for teens, it's for adults who work with children and teens, it's for library staff as well as those who use the library. So I think the biggest thing is to not hide it somewhere, put it in multiple places.
I'll put some links in for places that I know of. I'm in California and have worked more extensively, had more time to work with our California library. So I'm going to link you to California library sites, but I'll see if I can find some Kentucky examples as well.
Here's one for Lexington. I just did a search. That was the first that popped up. Let me keep looking too. See if there's any highlighted.
Oh, I love that. Beautiful.
I know it's been featured in different news stations. That doesn't help your question, though. questions? Yes, Kim, thank you so much. Looking at the book promotion resources, yeah, everything's, what I love is that when you print things off, it will have your library or your location's information on it. It does not default to KDLA or someone else. So it also allows you to highlight that you have these materials available for your people. Another thing is they do not save lists, just so you guys know, that they want nothing behind that allows it to be traced. So it just like it, they're very loyal to our kind of mandates in public libraries and protecting patrons and students. And yeah, we had a presentation at KPLA that was not recorded on TeachingBooks. The creator of TeachingBooks, Nick Glass, presented for us. So that was last week. And I don't think we have any recorded. So this would be our first recording. Lori, I'll double check on that though for you. This was a great crowd. Thank you so much for all of your questions. And thank you again to both Ray and Deborah for being here with us. You guys have a good rest of your day. And again, if you have questions, please do feel free to hit up any of us and we'll do the best that we can to help.
Thanks so much